You booked it, episode 191. What's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining me today on You Booked It, the #1 podcast where you learn how to create a successful entertainment career. I am excited to announce your new entertainment industry platform, the You Booked It community, is now free for everyone. Inside, you'll be able to chat and connect with Broadway performers, Emmy nominees, top choreographers, past podcast guests, and people just like you navigating this wild and crazy entertainment industry. Build industry relationships, learn how to create a successful entertainment career, and join in on live masterclasses with the industry's top leading professionals from Broadway and beyond. Tap the link in the show notes and I'll send you your invite link. And now, let's meet today's guest. Okay, let's get started. I am excited to introduce my guest today, Kim Hale. Are you ready for this, Kim?
I am.
Brilliant. Mentored by Emmy Award winner and Golden Globe winner Debbie Allen, Kim brings a 360-degree approach to her work as a performer, speaker, dance educator, and choreographer. She has done so much throughout her career, everyone. You will literally have to go to her website if you want to read all about it. However, a handful of recent highlights include the Pie Lady in Dolly Parton's 2020 Netflix holiday musical, Christmas on the Square. She was also one of the assistant choreographers of the film, directed and choreographed by Debbie Allen. Kim also assisted Miss Allen and Diana Ross at the Hollywood Bowl in 2018 and performed in the Motown legend's 75th birthday concert at the Hollywood Palladium in 2019. Other recent credits include The Ellen Show, Grey's Anatomy, as well as multiple episodes on The Late Late Show with James Corden. Kim even appeared in the national tour of Applause and the pre-Broadway workshops of Chicago and Fosse. Kim is also the owner of Kim Hale Public Relations, which represents artists and creators at all stages of their careers. Kim, that is a quick intro of who you are and what you've done, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, fill in the gaps, and a little bit more about what you do as a professional in the entertainment industry?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here and share a little bit of my journey. I am a dancer, first and foremost. I have also worked in other areas of the entertainment industry, including as a talent agent, as a publicist, as a choreographer, as an assistant choreographer, and as a director. So I'm so grateful to have experienced so many different aspects of the industry because one truly informs the other. I was fortunate to be able to work with Debbie Allen and really see and experience firsthand the possibilities of how to move forward from a dance career only. She's such a great example of somebody who went from being a dancer to a choreographer to a director and now executive producer on Grey's Anatomy, and she was executive producer on Christmas on the Square as well. So in addition to all of that, I've enjoyed so much working as a publicist. I had been given the opportunity through Debbie Allen to head the PR for her 2019 production of The Hot Chocolate Nutcracker, which has appeared in Los Angeles and was also part of a Netflix documentary called Dance Dreams, Hot Chocolate Nutcracker. And through that process, I really learned so much about possibility and where dance can take you and to really pay attention to what's happening. And it led me, I'm so grateful, to a career in PR because people saw what I was doing and asked me if I would help them. And I was able to do that. And in my first year, I was fortunate to secure covers on Inside Dance magazine, for Chloe and Maud Arnold, Debbie Allen on the cover of Dance Magazine, and then one of my young clients recently on cover of a magazine called Eternally 19. So I've been really fortunate. And to be honest, it's storytelling. It's all storytelling, from dancing to PR to being an agent. It's how do you craft and tell a story.
Yeah, so good. I love that you've been in so many different facets of the industry, and I think it's so cool. I'm excited to get into that throughout this entire interview as well. But to kick things off, let's get into this first section here. And Kim, look, I am a sucker for a good quote. What is your favorite quote you'd like to share with everyone?
This is a quote that I think I heard back in the day on the Oprah show, and I
Mm.
don't know the author, but the quote is, "That which is meant for you is already yours."
Oh,
And
really good. Yeah, can you expand on that a bit?
yeah, for me, it took some of the desperation, and I can only say desperation, away from
Yeah.
opportunities, whether it be as a performer auditioning or even as a publicist trying to secure a media booking for a client, or as a talent agent trying to get great talent bookings. And this idea of, for me, doing the work and then you have to surrender and let it go. And just always trying to put your best foot forward to do the best that you can on that day and then let it go.
And just focusing on what you can control, right? Because there's so many elements of our careers that simply we have no control over, especially in such a subjective industry like this one.
I remember being in New York and just those years just so desperate and wanting something so bad that you almost push it away. But again, that idea of what you can control, the things like building good relationships, showing up on time, being somebody that people like to work with, being somebody that people can count on to deliver and make them good. Because that's truly what being a dancer is, making the choreographer look good, in my opinion. And doing the work. I consider myself a lifelong learner. I'm in an acting class right now. I've been in an acting class with Tony Award winner Betty Buckley for the past 4 weeks. This will be my fifth week, the final week. And there's so much to learn. There's just constantly something to learn. And so being open to those possibilities and doing the work and then seeing where it lands.
For sure. And let's get into this next section here. And Kim, of course, you are an entertainment professional. I'm an entertainment professional. And I think that you'd agree that this industry can be one of the most subjective, like we just talked about, brutally honest, and personally emotional industries in existence. And you know as well as I that in order to create and have a successful career in this industry like you're having now takes a lot of dedication and hard work. And while, yeah, there is an outrageous amount of fun and excitement doing what we do, there are also our fair share of challenges, obstacles, and failures we are going to experience and we're going to have to move forward through. Tell us, what is one key challenge, obstacle, or failure you've experienced in your career, and how did you come out the other side better because of it?
That's such a great question. I don't want to look at anything as failure, but definitely lots of challenges and growth that needed to happen. So, one exciting opportunity that I had was I think in the early 90s, I was working with Anne Reinking. I had taken her class at Steps on Broadway. Literally nobody was in her class, maybe six people. This is
Jeez.
pre-Chicago. I mean, it was amazing. And she asked me and my friend who came to class with me, if we'd like to be part of this little skeleton crew she was putting together for a revival of Chicago. I was probably 25 at the time. And I actually got to play the role of Velma in the production. And lots of amazing people came. I could tell you what steps I offered to the choreographer that are still in the show today. And then coming in to audition and not getting it, and being at that time, immature in my view of the business, I took it devastatingly that I didn't get it. And it was just so hard. I just couldn't wrap my mind how I didn't get it. I auditioned maybe two or three times later. And it took me many years to realize one, I was too young. First of all, the people they hired were in their 40s or late 30s. I was in my mid 20s and went on to hire me later for something that I was right for. And learning too that I'm not defined by getting something or not getting something. It goes both ways. And that was an issue that I faced in my 20s, especially in New York, was, oh, I got the job. I'm amazing. Oh, I didn't get the job. I'm terrible. Like that roller coaster was, I had to learn, was not a way to live. It's just, I'm a good person. I'm out here doing the best I can. I'm offering the best that I can on any day. And like you said, I have to let go of the rest. And having been on the other side of the casting table now, it's so little about talent. When you get to a certain level of auditioning, everybody's good in the room. It's type. We want this type. We only can have so many people like this. We can only have this. We need an older person. We need somebody with brown hair. Ooh, the red hair girl looks like my ex-girlfriend. I don't want to be around that. So it's so many things. So really learning that my value is not dependent on whether I get a job or not. And that kind of ties into that quote as well.
For sure. I had a friend of mine who was helping with casting on a show that I auditioned for, and he goes, "Oh, they liked you, but you reminded one of them of their ex-boyfriend, so that's why we cut you." I said, "Oh, that's so stupid." But that's really how menial or how silly casting decisions can be made. But you also mentioned and hit on the fact that, look, you can't really be tying, or in the beginning of your career, you were tying so much of your success to what you were booking or not booking and what you were actually doing in the business. And it's so easy for us to default to that, I think, and to attach our success to the resume lines or to the contracts. But I think as we go through our careers, that we discover that it's really about the journey that it takes to get those resume lines. It's not ever the peaks. It's not the job. It's about getting to that job and then continuing developing yourself to get the next one and to continue having this journey through the entertainment industry.
Yeah, I think it was so much, I would even say my worth was tied to that, how I viewed myself as a human being. And then you're bringing all of that energy into the room with you and that desperation. And it's just like a real psychological situation going on that nobody wants to be part of, to be honest. They pick up on that vibe. And there's been many stories like that. I remember auditioning for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle tour that was going to Radio City. I knew the choreographer from LA. We were in New York. She had me demonstrate all the choreography, show everybody how I was doing it, asking them to copy me, and I didn't get the job. And I couldn't figure it out. So there's so many times like that. And then there were jobs that I was horrible at the audition and I booked it. There were times I hit it, I didn't get kept or I got cut. And there were times when I was horrible and people kept me. And so there's no rhyme or reason to any of it, except as my agent and friend says, you just have to go in the room, be joyful, have fun, and then walk out and go about your business.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's such great insight and great advice through that entire story. I think everyone should rewind and have another listen to that for sure. But let's now move on to a time that I like to call your spotlight moment. That one moment in time you realized, yes, I am going to be an entertainer for a living, or maybe it was, yes, this is what I need to be doing in the entertainment industry. Tell us about that.
I have two stories on that. From a young age, I was passionate about whatever I did. I actually started as a competitive figure skater, and there was a little ballet studio, dance studio that came to be built within the skating rink. And I had these really eccentric teachers, and I just loved everything about it. And so I would say that I always Loved that. I knew that this was what I wanted to do. My mother would say, obsessive about it. I would practice in the kitchen. I begged to go to class. She was so concerned that I was so dedicated, which in hindsight, gosh, poor her. You have a child that's, dedicated to their craft at a young age and knows what they want to do. So that for me was always there. I didn't go on a straight and narrow path. I had a lot of twists and turns along the way, and I tried to push the arts and dance away even as recently as 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I'm not that. I don't want to be doing that. This is not what I do anymore. Debbie Allen used to get so mad at me because I would say, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not a dancer. I want to be this. And I realized you can be many things. So for that transition, the other story that I have that was just a light bulb moment was one day I was at the Debbie Allen Dance Academy. I was there teaching, I think. And Miss Allen came to me and said, do you want to assist me on a project? I was like, okay. She's go follow my car. We're going to go now. I said, okay. And we go down all these roads in LA and we pull up to this recording studio and we walk in and Diana Ross is sitting there and I just about lost it. I mean, if I could tell you the voices in my head and the way I spoke very clearly, like, nice to meet you, Miss Ross. And inside I'm thinking, I think you have to call her Miss Ross. And I was thinking all these things that she had just no little makeup on and was watching us rehearse a number. And then cut to, it was recital weekend for the studio. And we were at the Hollywood Bowl and rehearsed live. And when we got there, she was doing her own audio from the audience. I couldn't believe it. It was just unbelievable. And then standing on stage with her and her singing these songs, I literally got tears in my eyes. She sang Reach Out and Touch, and the tears started pouring down my face. I was so embarrassed. And in that moment, I just thought, wow, there's so much possibility out there. How did I get here? How did this happen? I couldn't fathom it. And I was left to rehearse this choir. And Miss Allen went on to some other things and left me there after she said it and we were rehearsing in the bathroom. And she came back that night and just trusted me that it was going to be okay. She didn't even ask me what happened and just said, you did a good job at the end when she saw it. And it was just to be in the company of such iconic Debbie Allen and Diana Ross. How did I get here? It just made me feel like there was more to do and more to explore. And don't cut yourself short. So for 2021, my vision has been be open to it all, period.
Yeah.
Just be open to it all. Don't put a judgment on something you don't know yet what it is.
Yeah,
So
I think that's amazing.
it's just incredible experiences that I had and that just always reinforce, like, stop pushing this away, embrace the possibilities of where this could take you.
Exactly. And I think it also goes to show, so you've done some work clearly from your resume with Debbie Allen a handful of times, and it really comes down to saying yes and to those relationships. And relationships are so important in this industry.
Yes, relationships are everything. I can tell you that probably the last 4 out of 5 credits that I have, so those being James Corden, Christmas on the Square, I didn't audition for any of those. I was direct booked because of my relationships.
Right.
And so I was grateful. And that is just incredible. And so relationships are key. And I was talking to somebody at the Movement Talent Agency the other day, and they said, especially, I like to call it the Rona, during the Rona, that relationships have become everything. because
Yeah.
there's no auditions hardly being held. Maybe some they've tried to figure it out on Zoom, but it's very hard. So you're either getting a video sent to you and you're doing the choreography and submitting a video, or it's relationship based. And so that is, it's very key to everything. And I think when I see some people say, oh, I don't like to have the same credit with the same choreographer on different jobs. And I say, why not? It shows that you were reliable. You were somebody they trusted. It
Yeah.
says a lot about you when you see the same name on a resume. So yes, relationships. You had my friend John Sovic on, who's now a therapist. We danced in a show together 25 years ago for Dick Clark.
Wow.
And the fact that you don't know where people will end up
Mm.
and how you may reconnect with somebody.
Yeah.
So it's important. And yes, it's also hard when something happens to a relationship and you're like, oh gosh, I hope I can repair that. But it is important, nurturing the relationships. I think it's key, especially at this time.
Yeah, could not agree more. And I want to piggyback on that spotlight moment real quick. And I want to talk about your number one booked it moment. Walk us through that day, the audition and callbacks, if they happen to be a part of it. What was going on in your life? And what about that moment makes it your favorite booked it moment?
I've been thinking a lot about this, and I was surprised to realize that some of the bigger moments weren't the ones that stood out. There's one moment in particular. I was living in Las Vegas. I was in the show Enter the Night at the Stardust Hotel. And I like to go to auditions. I was somebody who took a lot of classes, even when I was in shows there, and was always trying to book the industrials and the extra opportunities just to stay fresh. And I love to dance. And so I went to this audition. There used to be an iconic woman. She's still there. Her name is Hoppy, and a choreographer by the name of Rich Rizzo. And it was for a shell industrial. And I had changed up my vibe where I was dressing a little more for the audition, figuring out the look. I can't remember exactly what I had on. I don't remember. But what I do remember was all of the fiercest dancers were there. Incredible, including some of my best friends who were the top bookers in Las Vegas. And then incredible guys, Tiger Martina, just incredible dancers. And at the last minute, I think the last time I went up, I made it through all the cuts. And the last time I went up, there was like a song. It was like, We Are Shell. I still remember it. And I decided to lip sync along with it. I don't even know why. I just lip synced the lyrics while I was dancing. And I thought I did a good job. At the time, I was living in a little studio apartment, pretty basic little life in my 20s. And I had a job. So there was also a little detachment because I had a job. And I remember the next morning, Hoppy called me and told me that I booked the job. And she said, the reason you booked the job was that someone on the shell team absolutely loved that you lip sync the lyrics for the brand. I'm not saying to do that, but in this spontaneous moment, it worked. And it was a huge show, production value at the convention center. And just that I was dancing with these really amazing dancers, like I felt like these were my peers now. I was with them on stage and I was just so inspired and so excited. And that would be my booked it moment, just being yourself. And there were people who had other things that were better than me, but that little thing pushed me over, the edge to actually booking.
Yeah, I agree with you. When I think about my number one booked it moments, they're not necessarily the biggest shows or opportunities that I was able to be a part of, but it was that thing that really cracked me into a market or got that ball rolling, and that really set off a whole series of events. And I'm right with you. That's so cool. And I know in our pre-interview chat a little bit, we talked about all the people that we know, because we've been communicating back and forth for quite a while now, and it just blows my mind. You said Tiger Martina. I'm like, oh my gosh, because Tiger and I've gotten to work with Tiger a bit in Vegas, and then Sandy Ross and Lisa Deer. It's just what a
It's a small
crazy
world.
small world. And again, to relationships, right? Working with all these different people and making all these connections. This industry always blows my mind. Every time. It's so cool.
6 degrees of separation. I mean,
Yeah.
Tiger Martina. I was like, he was in Cold Hearted Snake. Oh my gosh. Plus, I just knew him as him, and I went on to see him do stuff in New York as well. But it was that kind of, I arrived, I'm like part of the club now. I had some credibility, I guess, at that
Yeah.
point.
Love this. And let's take a moment to talk about the present. What projects are you working on now? What are you looking forward to? And we've talked about it a bit this Rona time. How do you see the entertainment industry moving forward in the next couple of years?
I have, in my year of embracing it all, 2021,
Mm.
I recently had new pictures done and things, and because I had let my hair go white, which was part of my Rona experience, and am so excited to just see there's so many possibilities, especially I would say in LA for this, like I call it the senior jazz division for these dancers that are over 50 that
Yeah.
are working. I just saw a post where this new Sia movie that came out, they hired 10 dancers over 50 and 60, even a 70-year-old woman with white hair and stuff. So embracing that piece and being open to that. And I've even started exploring TikTok, which has become really fun for me, just making little videos on
Yeah.
TikTok, because I'll use that as a segue into where I think that the Rona is going to take us. I've recently joined Clubhouse. And if you're not on Clubhouse, I encourage you to find somebody that can give you an invite, because it's such an amazing platform for learning things. And so I was in a chat room with some different people in entertainment industry, and just really hearing and learning more about how specific and the necessity for video content, and that casting directors are asking for people's Instagram accounts, and which is part of the reason that I started doing these TikTok videos, was to show some footage of me dancing where I am today and what I can do. And just learning about how there's a paradigm shift happening in the entertainment industry. And so I think it goes to the point of, it's not all about being in your agent's hands, that you have to be proactive in getting clips of yourself and being engaged in that piece of, I hate the word branding, showing your skill set, I should say, and keeping your LA casting profiles updated and all the profiles, and giving your team what they need to pitch you most effectively. So that's been a big journey during this time of just learning and listening, and then tying that into expanding with my PR business. There's a lot of people that say you shouldn't be doing other things. For me, it's just about balance. I'm not super pushing to like book something. I'm enjoying the storytelling aspect, PR, and I'm looking to just grow that business and see what's possible, and staying focused on telling stories there so that it stays joyful for me. And that's the same for dance as well.
Really like that. Love your outlook and how you're just navigating life at the moment. And you're right. This whole idea of marketing yourself and branding yourself and being the one in control of that and really being on top of it is definitely this new phenomena in our industry, but it has become vital, even almost borderline obnoxiously vital at times. And I know a lot of people that are not super thrilled about it. And the reality is, it doesn't matter. The reality is, this is the way our industry is moving forward and has been developing this towards this direction for quite a few years now. But it's one of those things you just have to embrace. You have to take it on in its stride. It's like getting the financial literacy side of this industry figured out, right? We don't really want to necessarily learn about money and finances, but if we want to do this professionally, we do. And it's just part of being a professional in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, I think that relationships for some people are their main link. I have a friend who he's constantly booking because of relationships. So that's great. And that's one, there's not one size fits all. So that's one. If you have really solid relationships, that may carry you. For somebody like me coming back, I have some relationships, but I'm also trying to create a narrative that even though I have white hair, I still can hit it.
Right.
So there's that piece, and that you have to show people that. People on the other side, from my work as an agent, they're not very imaginative. And so you really have to show people, not just tell them that you can do something. And
Exactly right.
And for me, TikTok just became a great tool for that because you can make the video short and fun. They're like 15-second clips. And I came to learn this week that I didn't even know that even on LA Casting, they now have a feature where next to your credit, you can put like a small reel so that people aren't wanting those long, a reel anymore. They want individualized clips of what you do. So somebody like me, I was on the James Corden show and I played a teacher. I wasn't even dancing. And it was with Ben Platt and James Corden. And I played like an elementary school teacher into a high school teacher into a college president. And so I called that my teacher reel. If you want to see me as a teacher, you can go look at this. So really customizing and taking the time. Again, for somebody like me, that's important. My friend, he has some old picture up on his LA Casting. He's constantly working. So it's not it's never one way. It's just seeing what works for you and trying to give as much collateral to people as possible. One picture is probably not great. I just have 6 now of different things. So it's just being active to what feels comfortable for you. And that's, you do have to take ownership of your career. I know that from an agent, there's a lot of people and you're going to come to the top of the pile if you've done your homework and you've made sure that you have the materials that reflect you the best. Because even my agency, I had some terrible picture and they're like, we're not pitching you. And I said, really? I worked there. And they said, no, it will reflect so badly on us, that bootleg picture of you. I said, okay, I'll get new pictures. So, it goes both ways. So I encourage people to take things in their hand and do their research and give people what they need.
Fantastic advice. And it is time to move on to one of my favorite sections in the interview. I call it the Grease Lightning Round.
Yes.
I am going to ask you a handful of questions. I want you to answer them as quickly and concisely as possible, one after another. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, first question. What was the one thing holding you back from committing to a career as an entertainer?
Fear.
Second question, what is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
What I said about the quote and the advice I received from my agent: go into the room, have fun, bring joy, and let it go.
Yes. Third question, what is something that is working for you right now? Or if you'd like to go pre-COVID, what was working for you before our industry went on pause?
I would say during COVID, just trying to find the joy in life and reconnecting with my love of dance.
Yes. Fourth question, what is your best resource? Whether that is a book, a movie, a YouTube video, maybe a podcast or a piece of technology you found is helping your career right now?
That's a great question. I think staying connected with friends for support and bouncing ideas off of them, and just staying connected with what's happening in the industry and staying aware and being proactive.
Yes, I think there it is. It's also back to the relationships thing, hey?
Yes, picking up the phone and calling people. In this world of social media, commenting on somebody's photo, staying connected with choreographers. I've gone as far, I have no shame. as I really want to be, I'm just going to put it out there, on Zoe's Extraordinary playlist. They need a townsperson, I'm sure, with white hair in some scene. So Mandy Moore, if you're listening, I really want to be on your show, but sending my reel through. Now, this isn't something everyone, I did this. I'm not encouraging people, but I sent my reel through to say, I love your work. If you ever need someone, please find me.
Yeah. Why not?
Put it out there.
There it is. And the fifth question, if you had to start your career from scratch, but you still had all the knowledge and experience you've collected from your career in this industry, what would you do or not do? Would you do anything differently, or would you keep it the same?
I know most people say they would keep it the same. I'm going to say I would definitely like to keep all the knowledge that I have now, but I would really just prepare even more for my move to New York. I came to New York. I had never been, my first musical I ever did in my life was a national tour. I had never sung on stage before that, and just really thinking that out a little bit more and just being a little more courageous.
And the last question, what is the golden nugget knowledge drop you learned from your successful career in this industry you'd like to share with our listeners?
Control what you can. Be on time. To me means be early. Do your homework. Continue to train. All of those things are so important. Nurture your relationships. Say thank you. Send handwritten thank you notes. All of those things will really set you apart from other people. And then after that, let it go.
Yes. Incredible advice. Everyone, seriously, rewind that. Listen to that again. So much there. And to wrap up this interview, Kim, it is time to give yourself a plug. Where can we find you? How do our listeners connect with you? Is there anything you want to promote?
Yes, you can visit my dance website at kimhaledance.com, or if you're interested, my PR website at kimhalepr.com. And please visit me and watch my TikTok videos on my Instagram, MSKimHale, Hale, or on TikTok at the same.
Beautiful. And for everyone listening out there, I have put the links to everything Kim just said into the description of this episode so you can easily connect with her. And also be sure to share this podcast with your fellow entertainers, coaches, teachers, arts and entertainment educators, and anyone you know aspiring to create a career in the entertainment industry. You Booked It is the #1 resource of expertise on how to actually create a successful entertainment career. Case in point, everything Kim just gave us today in this interview, so many fantastic golden nuggets. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next guest. Kim, thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad that we've connected, and I'm just mind-boggled at how many mutual people we know.
I love it. It's amazing. And I'm just so excited to be part of your podcast, and just how wonderful it is that these resources are out there. I wish I had something like this as a young performer, because there's just so much on your Instagram page alone. There's so much valuable information. So thank you for including me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for listening today. If you enjoyed this episode and want more like it, be sure to smash that subscribe button. Also, be sure to jump inside the brand new You Booked It community. Head over to youbookeditpodcast.com/community or tap the link in the show notes right now and take your career to the next level. Inside, you'll connect with your people and develop real industry relationships, which, by the way, this podcast has discovered is the #1 fundamental that creates long-term career success. Discover opportunities and join in on over 20 upcoming live masterclasses. Tap the link in the description of this episode, and I'll see you there.